These are the best selling SUVs in the country, but they're not the best SUVs. We picked up 10 small SUVs, hybrid and gas, so we can compare them side by side.
Comfort, cargo, car seats, tech, driving, and MPGs, we're covering it all. And each SUV has an overall Edmunds rating score.
And that's what we'll use to rank them all from worst to best.
We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews.
If you want to know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with us. This is cool, but sadly the Chevy still brings up the rear. Tech is one of the few good things about the Equinox. You get a good sized screen, you get Google integration for things like the maps and the voice commands, and you get an 8-year free trial of all of the Google stuff, which is a lot more than some of the competitors. There's also good room both front and rear, and there's no hump in the floor, so no penalty for sitting in the middle seat. There are also fun paint options like a neat green. You can also get a white color contrasting roof and a cool off-road looking active model. But that's where the good news ends. On the road, it's slow, rough, floaty, disconnected, and it's pretty hard to see out of. Plus, there's no hybrid, so fuel economy isn't great either. On top of that, getting into the back is kind of a problem because the doors don't open to 90 degrees and the openings are quite small. So loading in people or car seats or cargo, it's just more difficult than it should be. On top of that, cargo space isn't special either. There isn't that much room for small stuff on the inside, and trunk space isn't great. Also, if you want to tow, you can't pull as much as you can with some competitors. Listen, the Chevy is fine if you like the way it looks, you don't care how your car drives, and you don't need that much room for stuff, especially if you know somebody at a Chevy dealership that can get you a good deal. But there are 9 better options. Speaking of deals, we've got the tools to help you find the best deal on an SUV near you. We'll put the link in the description.
Say it with me now. Big screen does not equal good screen. We've gotten very familiar with the Forester Hybrid because this SUV is actually a part of our 1-year road test fleet, where we keep a vehicle for a year and 20,000 miles to learn what it's like to live with day to day. And in our time with it so far, people have had some nice things to say. We'll get to our feelings about the tech in a moment, but let's start with the good. And for this SUV, that all starts with visibility. You have very big windows all around you, so it's very easy to see out of. And that also allows more light into the cabin, which just makes it feel more roomy and spacious overall. Which it is. There's a lot of room for passengers here in the back seat, and on top of that, it's also very easy to get in and out of thanks to wide door openings and a low seat height, so people with limited mobility or kids will have no trouble. And speaking of kids, if you have to put in a car seat back here, good news. Those massive door openings make maneuvering a seat in no problem at all, and the lower latch anchors and upper tethers are also really easy to find. But, and you knew a but was coming, this tech is some of the worst in the industry today. This infotainment system, it's slow to respond, it's low resolution, and I mean, just look at this backup camera. It's tiny and it's really hard to actually see what's behind you as well. And the bad news is that you actually have to use the screen more than you would like because there is a lack of physical controls in this vehicle. And to top it off, the driving tech isn't much better. The adaptive cruise control feels unresponsive and a bit lazy, and the lane keeping system doesn't do a good job of keeping you centered. Instead, you bounce from lane line to lane line like you're playing Pong. And the small item storage, it's not good, mostly because it's basically non-existent. There are no clever storage spaces up here. You have this little bin under the screen. That's where the wireless charging pad lives. And yes, it's slightly rubberized, but we have noticed that while you're driving, it doesn't actually grip your phone enough, so it slides around and becomes disconnected and stops charging. And this center console bin, it's also quite small. And in another weird thing for Subaru, which is a very outdoorsy brand, it's got tiny cup holders that don't fit a big water bottle, and this thing won't fit in the door pockets either. Just very disappointing small item storage all around. Now, thankfully, we own the hybrid and not the gas version, because the gas version is worse in pretty much every way. Its suspension is stiffer, so it rides worse, and it also feels underpowered, and it's very slow to respond to throttle inputs. So Hybrid good, everything else, not so much. So if visibility and easy access are really important, or if you just happen to really love Subarus and want a hybrid, then maybe this Forester Hybrid is for you. But if that's not you, we'd really recommend you look elsewhere.
Goes over any terrain. That is the best thing about the Bronco Sport, but there are some serious compromises. I mean, you could just see it. The Bronco Sport is easily the most off-road capable SUV of this bunch, especially if you get the new Sasquatch package. All-terrain tires, good ground clearance, locking differential, and all-wheel drive, it'll get you there. Also, the Bronco Sport has impressive towing for this group. Check this out. It's got a pop-up rear window and an available dual-level cargo floor, so your stuff is always right there and easy to get to. Also, let's say you're at the tailgate or the trailhead. Just slide that shelf out, pop up the legs, and it becomes a handy table, perfect for changing the baby or your build your own taco bar. Now, let's say your ride is getting a little tired and you're ready to trade up. Edmunds can get you an instant offer on your old car. We've got a link below. You can really appreciate the great tech in here. This infotainment is super crisp, snappy, and pretty easy to use as well. But with this recent refresh, Ford put all of the climate controls in the touchscreen, and as I've always said, buttons are better. There are also some fun enthusiast styling touches throughout the Bronco Sport too. You can get fun graphics packages, some pretty good paint, and a throwback heritage edition. But you will pay for it. Literally, the Bronco Sport is more expensive and less efficient than a lot of its rivals, especially if you want an off-road ready one. But you also pay in practicality too. Like in the back seat, for example, you have way less legroom than any other SUV like this. The doors don't open very wide and the openings are quite narrow. It's gonna make it tough to take a road trip with friends. It also means that if you want to put a rear-facing car seat back here, you're going to have to scoot a seat way forward. The same goes for cargo space. If you just look at the measurements, the Ford is pretty competitive, but that's because the space is quite tall. Floor space is actually less than other SUVs of this type, and that means that fitting bigger items like a stroller or some golf bags means you're going to have to fold the rear seats down. If you hit the trails often and like the Bronco vibe but don't want a hardcore trail rig, the Bronco Sport makes sense. But you've got to know what you're giving up. And for the average small SUV buyer, there are a lot of better options that we'd recommend.
I have to say, this Rock Creek, it does make a hell of a first impression. The Nissan Rogue certainly has its strengths, starting with its cargo area. It's plenty roomy back there, and it also has a flat load floor, which we really like, and two little bins on either side, which is great for small items so they don't roll around. Now, speaking of small items, you're also going to find plenty of smart spaces up front to fit them. This center bin, I really like how it has this split opening and it's decently sized. And below the screen up here, you're getting a pretty big bin that also houses the wireless charger, and it's rubberized so your phone won't slide around. And underneath here, you're getting another storage space for even more items, and the door pockets, they're even big enough to fit your big water bottle. I really like the straightforward, no frills control scheme here in the Rogue. You're gonna get a button for basically everything that you're going to use often. So you've got a home button here for the multimedia system and a dedicated camera button, which is a personal favorite of mine. And if we look down here at all the climate controls, it's either a knob or a button, even for the heated seats. That's great. And this isn't quite as sexy, but it's important to mention, for a gas vehicle, the Rogue is going to give you pretty great fuel economy. Even all-wheel drive versions of this SUV, they're all gonna give you over 30 mpg combined, except for the Rock Creek that we're in here, it'll give you 29. And now, for the not so good. Nissan does offer a larger 12.3-inch touchscreens. However, in most trims of the Rogue, you're going to be saddled with this dinky 8-inch screen instead. And making things worse, you're also getting a worse infotainment system. The bigger screen comes with some Google built-in stuff that we really like, but this one, no Google built-in, and it's laggy and slow, and look at it, it just looks and feels 10 years old, even though we're in a brand new car. Oh, and on top of that, you're not getting wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay unless you go up to the larger screen. That's a feature that every other vehicle we have here today offers. And there are a few issues when it comes to driving. The Rogue's powertrain, it is a bit sluggish and unresponsive, so you hit the gas and you kind of have to wait for the result. And even though the handling surprised us and is actually pretty good, the ride quality and the noise in the cabin are bad, and that makes the Rogue feel less refined than competitors. Oh, and while the Rogue has pretty good fuel economy for a gas compact SUV, we have to point out that unlike many of our favorites, it doesn't offer a hybrid. Look, the Rogue, it's fine. There's some decent value at lower trim levels, and if for some reason you don't want a hybrid, the fuel economy is pretty good, and there's some clever storage solutions. But why would you settle for fine with your money when you can get good or even great?
Before we get into this one, let me pause. Everything we're going to talk about from here on out gets a verdict of very good or better on the Edmunds rating. We also have full ratings and reviews for almost every new car on sale on our website. Everything else we're going to talk about we can easily recommend, but some are truly excellent. So the Mazda, it has less cargo space than almost all of its competition, but the whole package is so good it almost makes up for it, except for one potential deal breaker. All right, pros. This interior is awesome. No other interior in this video feels closer to a luxury car, both in terms of look and feel. Everything from the font of the dials to the feel of the control knobs says high quality. And most of the controls are super easy. Good steering wheel buttons, super straightforward climate control. I love it in here. The Mazda is an especially good choice if you like to drive. The suspension makes body motions feel really controlled, which inspires a lot of confidence in the handling if you have to make something like an emergency maneuver, and power is always there whenever you need it for merging or passing. And there's a turbocharged option that can make more than 250 horsepower. Trust me, that's a lot. Now, onto the negatives. Remember that cargo problem? If you get the hybrid, you get even less cargo space, and you trade the gas engine's responsiveness and power for fuel economy. This is one of the few instances where we actually recommend the gas-only version over the hybrid model. But the potential deal breaker here is the tech. We like this screen, and the fact that it's mounted so high, it means you don't have to take your eyes very far off the road to see what's on it. That said, it's a little small, but more importantly, the OS buries a bunch of stuff inside of the menus, and it demands that you use the scroll knob most of the time. That could be a problem for some people. Buy the Mazda if you want something uniquely upscale and sporty. It is one of the more interesting cars in a group that can be pretty snoozy. But, and stop me if you've heard this before, there are still better options.
That's just so satisfying every single time. Like the Mazda, this just feels like a high quality piece of machinery that's built to last. There isn't a squeak or rattle to be found in the cabin, and we particularly like that Honda pays close attention to the touch points. So all the stuff that you're going to be using regularly, they all feel great. You get real metal knobs here with great knurling on them, and even these joystick air vents, they are also somehow really fun to use. Great job, Honda. The way the Honda Drive also really stands out in this group. It isn't as overtly sporty as the Mazda is, but I love the steering and the handling, and the brake and gas pedal are really easy to operate smoothly. But my favorite part is actually the ride quality. It gives this vehicle a sense of refinement that many of these other SUVs can't match. And the rear seat is also great. The doors open to almost 90 degrees, so you get really big openings, making it easy to load in a car seat, and there's plenty of room and a comfortable recline setting as well. But it has to be said, the CR-V is down on features. You can't get ventilated seats, you can't get a surround view camera, and you can't get a panoramic moonroof, and those are features that we've come to expect on a modern compact SUV. The Google integration in this Honda infotainment system we really like. However, unlike in that bottom barrel Chevy, where you're gonna get the good Google stuff on the entire range, here in the CR-V, you're only gonna get this infotainment system if you go for the top trim level, the Sport Touring. Get any other CR-V and you're stuck with a worse infotainment system that is older, has poor graphics, and is tougher to use. And on top of that, this 9-inch screen, it's the biggest one that you can get in the Honda. All the other competitors offer something much larger. We should also mention that getting into a hybrid version of the CR-V, its price floor is higher, so if you want the good fuel economy, it's going to cost you more than competitors. But even with those cons, we really like this Honda, and it's an easy recommendation for us for people who value quality, space, and driving dynamics. Overall, we really dig this thing. And if you dig this Honda or any of the other SUVs you've seen today, we can help you get into one by giving you an instant cash offer for your current set of wheels. It's easy and it's free.
The last Tiguan we could not recommend. This one, however, is very good. For the first time in a long time, the Tiguan feels more like a budget Audi than it does a cheapo afterthought. These seats, for example, they're nice to look at, they're well trimmed, they're super supportive, and on top spec models, you can get heating, cooling, and massage. This screen is super high end, it's mega quiet inside for a car like this, and top trims have a beefier engine with serious power. This whole thing feels like a real luxury product, even more so than the Mazda. Ah, luxury. Speaking of that, if you want a deal on this Tiguan or any other luxury car, head on over to Edmunds.com. We got plenty of deals on the website. Just go to the page, put in your zip code, and we'll give you the best deals near you. Alrighty, back to the Tiguan. I love that there's a ton of knee room back here. The door openings are huge, so it's easy to get inside, and the child seat anchors are hidden underneath the little plastic doors. That's a nice touch. This thing really punches above its weight, both in terms of refinement and features, even the base model. But there are still a few things that are holding it back. First, there's no hybrid, so fuel economy is below average. So if efficiency is a priority for you, that could be a deal breaker. Also, if you want those high-end features like the ventilated seats, the panoramic roof, or the massaging seats, you're going to have to pay. The price ceiling for the Tiguan is higher than almost any other car in this test. And the climate controls are all done through the screen. Look at how much is going on in here. I'm sure there are some people who won't mind, but, and you've heard it from me 1,000 times, buttons and knobs are just better. If you want something that feels almost like a real German luxury car, but for compact SUV money, the Tiguan is going to hold a lot of appeal. You should just know about its few drawbacks.
Guess what? The best-selling vehicle in America, it's finally good again. Look at all of this storage space, spots for 2 phones here, and on the top trim, even dual wireless charging pads, a shelf below it, a shelf in front of the passenger, and the center console lid. It will even flip over so you can use it as a taco tray. Toyota has also dramatically improved the technology offerings here in the RAV4. This actually debuts a brand new infotainment system for the brand, and believe it or not, this is actually the smaller of 2 available touchscreens in this vehicle. We love how responsive the screen is. We love how easy the layout is to use. It's a massive improvement over the old system. And we also want to call out that Toyota is going to give you 2 standard features on the RAV4 that none of its competitors can match. The first being this 12.3-inch digital instrument display, and the second one being an integrated dash cam, a feature that we know many consumers are looking for. Big thumbs up to Toyota for both of those. We're also big fans of this powertrain. The RAV4, it's quicker than you would expect, and while it's not quite as fun to drive as the Mazda or the Honda, we do like that its ride quality is also quite good, keeps passengers comfortable in the cabin. This powertrain also gives the RAV4 the highest tow rating of any of the competitors that we have here today, and if you want even more electric juice, it's available as a plug-in hybrid as well. We also have to shout out the RAV4's efficiency. It's the only SUV here where you can get all-wheel drive and still get over 40 mpg combined. It's basically like a Prius if you just wanted more space. Not that this is a perfect SUV though. That navigation that we like and the voice commands, you get a year free of those. And then after that, you're going to have to pay for a data subscription. Honda gives you 3 free years of its Google stuff, and the Equinox, it gives you 8 years, as we mentioned earlier, and that makes Toyota seem really stingy. These front seats, they're also not as comfortable and supportive as they are in some of the others, and there's a lot of hard plastic on this interior, including in the storage bin, so if you have anything stored down here, it's gonna slide around as you're driving. The rear seat is not great either. It's noticeably smaller than the other vehicles that we have here, and while it's big enough for adults and way better than the Bronco Sport, you're definitely going to notice a lack of room, and that also hurts it when it comes to car seats. The rear doors don't open very wide, and the lower latch anchors, they're a bit tough to access because they're stuck between the cushions. The redesigned RAV4 is a practical, powerful, modern, and efficient SUV that really took the issues that we had with the old one head on. And for the first time in years, we can finally recommend it. Nick, we have looked at a lot of SUVs today, and I'm happy to say that we have finally made it to the best one, or should I say, ones.
Yeah, that's right. According to the Edmunds rating, these two actually score in a tie, but that's not really that much of a surprise given how many things they share.
And while we really enjoy both of these SUVs, there's one of them that we like just a little bit more.
Okay, so the Sportage. There is a lot to like in here. Up front, you get these super comfortable and supportive front seats. You get a lot of small item storage up front, including this unique center console cup holder design, which means this is the only car in its class that can hold a big water bottle up front. You also just get this really nice overall vibe. The design is really sleek and really clean. I really like it. You also get this big standard screen here that's super sharp and easy to use. Plus, top spec models get a blind spot camera, so when you flick on one of your turn signals, you get a camera view showing you what's behind. It's brilliant. Speaking of driving, it's really comfortable on the road. The suspension is compliant without being floaty, and that's something that you really want in a car like this. It's easy to drive smoothly and it has plenty of power. When you're pulling away from a stop, it goes. Plus, it's really quiet in here, which is something we really appreciate. Driver assists are excellent too, up there with the best in the business, and there's even a plug-in hybrid if you want one.
This backseat area is also great. Really big door openings, and as you can see, a ton of room. So whether you're putting friends back here for a road trip or a rear-facing car seat, everyone's gonna be pretty happy. And value in the Kia is also excellent. It's going to offer you the same features that competitors do, but generally at a few $1,000s less. And it also has the best warranty of any of these SUVs, except for the Hyundai. The cargo area, it is also huge. It has a dual level cargo floor. And what that means is when it's in the upper position, you get a flat load floor. But if you want maximum cargo room, you just drop it down like this. And when it is, this gives the Sportage Hybrid the biggest cargo room of any of the SUVs we have here today, except for the Hyundai Tucson. On top of that, it can also tow up to 2,000 pounds.
So what's not to like? It's this thing. Kia put the controls for the media and the climate functions in the same menu, and you swap between them using this button. The design of the buttons is subpar to begin with, and it's really hard to use them without taking your eyes off the road, a problem that's made only worse when you're looking for something and you're stuck in the wrong menu. Also, fuel economy for the Sportage is subpar, despite the fact that it's a hybrid, which is kind of a bummer. But even compared to something like the RAV4, it's only a couple $100 a year difference for most drivers. If you're looking to compare anything about two or more vehicles, whether it's fuel economy, features, or cargo room, our Compare tool on Edmunds is a great way to see all of that info in just a few clicks.
You buy the Sportage Hybrid if you want one of the most well-rounded, do-it-all vehicles on sale today.
But if we were to make a default recommendation to anyone looking for a small SUV, it is this guy, the Hyundai Tucson, specifically the Hyundai Tucson Hybrid. Man, this thing is good.
This interior, fantastic. Tons of room up here, just like in the Kia, and you're also getting very comfortable and supportive seats with plenty of adjustment. But I think that this Tucson has the Sportage beat when it comes to small item storage for two key reasons. The first is this giant shelf here in front of the passenger. You can fit plenty of stuff there, and I love this open area down here. It's a perfect place to put a small bag or a purse so it doesn't slide around. Now, you are missing out on that configurable cup holder setup that we liked in the Kia, and yes, these things are a bit smaller, but if you don't have a giant water bottle in your life, this interior, it's the one. You're getting the same great tech that you're getting in the Kia, basically the same infotainment system, and we also really like the placement of this wireless charging pad. Easy to reach, rubberized on the bottom so your phone won't slide around, and it's got a little light that turns on while it's charging. That's all great. And while physical controls and buttons are the best for climate control, I actually don't mind the setup here in the Tucson because this little screen where these functions are housed, they're not used for anything else. They don't move and they're easy to find, and that solves the Sportage's biggest control problem. And driving the Tucson is great too. It combines some of our favorite attributes from the other vehicles that we have here. Its powertrain is quick and eager like the Toyotas, its suspension is comfortable like the Kias, and the gas and brakes are both easy to operate smoothly, so your passengers will enjoy it even more. And on top of that, its driver aids, just like in the Sportage, are excellent.
Back seat, big door openings, lots of knee room, lots of headroom, and there's more than enough space in here for a rear-facing child seat. Also, the cargo area is massive, and on top of that, this thing will tow more than almost every other car here. Now, these touch controls aren't as easy to use as some of the physical ones in the Hyundai's competitors, and just like the Kia, the hybrid isn't as efficient as some of its rivals. But this is the one that deserves your attention. No SUV in this test is as well-rounded or as easy to recommend, and that's why it's our winner. And that's it. Nearly every compact SUV ranked from worst to best.
And though there isn't a perfect vehicle in the lot, we've given you enough info today so that you can look at your priorities and find the perfect SUV for you.
It's worth mentioning though, in almost every single case, the hybrid is the better buy.
Except for the Mazda.
Well, Brian, we've done a lot of work here today.
A lot of work.
Yeah, tell me what you learned.
I think I learned that if you are shopping for a compact SUV, you can be as picky as you want to be. So whatever your biggest priority is, whether it's cargo room, technology, or how it drives, pick the one that's the best at that, because if you're picking from any of these top 5 contenders, they're all very good and you're not gonna give that much up.
Yeah, and even though they can be priced to over $40,000, and that's quite a bit of money, you're still going to find value here. You are getting a lot of car. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching.
And if you've been enjoying this video or any of our videos, please, we would ask you to like and subscribe. They go a long way towards helping us make more of them.
And making sure Brian doesn't lose his job.
And making sure Brian doesn't... Wait, what?